So today, my friends, we're going to be talking about something new, something that I haven't talked about on this channel before, and it is sex, one of my favorite topics. No joke, it really is one of my favorite topics. Fun fact about Marina. More importantly, we're going to be talking about birth control, because if you are the kind of human that can reproduce and you don't want children at this time in your life, you're probably thinking about birth control. And if you're super passionate about the global waste crisis and living life in alignment with the zero waste lifestyle, then you're probably thinking, okay, how can I do this birth control thing in the least wasteful way I know how? So we're going to be talking about birth control today, all of the different kinds of birth control, what I use personally, and hopefully from this video you're inspired to pursue the route that is truly best for you, because above everything, even considering zero waste in the planet, you do have to do what's most in alignment with your body. So that's like the main takeaway that I want to say even before I start this video. So welcome, grab a seat, maybe grab a little blankie, whatever makes you comfortable. Hey everyone, it's Marina. Welcome to my YouTube channel, or welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you're new to this channel, it's called Eco Goddess, and on here we talk all things zero waste. We talk about soulful wellness, as I like to call it. We also do some vegan stuff. Sometimes I'll share recipes if I'm feeling like it, but most of the time I'll just kind of allude to the fact that I like to live my life in the vegan kind of way. Today we're going to be diving into the topic of birth control, and if that can be done zero waste, and if so, how. And I'll also be sharing my personal story to kind of exploring this zero waste birth control thing. So there are a lot of birth control methods. The birth control implant, the IUD, birth control shot, birth control vaginal ring, birth control patch, birth control pill, condom, internal condom, diaphragm, birth control sponge, cervical cap, spermicide, fertility awareness, withdrawal, aka pull-out method. Don't do that. Breastfeeding as birth control, abstinence. In other words, like sex is over there, you're over here, and you're like, nah, I'm good. I don't know how people do that, but sterilization or tubal ligation, and the vasectomy. So I figured we'd start with the truly zero waste methods of birth control. The first is abstinence, or just not having sex. I think that's kind of obvious, but I thought I would state it. If you want to be truly zero waste, just don't engage in the activity, which would cause waste. So that's the first one, is abstinence. The second most zero waste form of birth control is female or male sterilization. In the form of male, it's called a vasectomy. And I imagine there is some waste produced in the procedure, such as gloves. I don't honestly know, I haven't looked too much into that, but that's the second most zero waste way, is just being sterile and making permanent changes to your reproductive organs so that you cannot reproduce. The third most zero waste form of birth control is the IUD, and this can last for up to 12 years. There are two forms of IUDs. There's the hormonal one and the copper one. I have the copper one, so I'm going to be talking a little bit about my experience with it, but I do want to just say these are the only birth controls that I'm going to be talking about. The rest of the birth controls that I mentioned earlier in this video all cause more waste than the IUD. And that's not to say that those are worse. I definitely don't want someone to watch this video and be like, well, I have to do this one because it's less waste than this one. I really do encourage you to dive deep into all of the various birth control methods, even go to a Planned Parenthood facility or get on the phone with a Planned Parenthood specialist. That's what I did. And I talked them through my body and my values and just really who I am as a person, and they were able to establish, okay, you know what, the copper IUD sounds like it would be perfect for you. I didn't get the hormonal one purely because I didn't want anything altering the hormones in my body. I've had a number of friends who have had hormonal birth control methods, whether it be the pill or the shot or even the IUD, and they've experienced pretty dramatic changes in their body. Weight gain is pretty popular, and moodiness. Those two things alone just really turned me off to the pill and doing anything like that. I do also understand that some people actually need those types of birth control or need those types of hormones added to their body. So you do you, boo. That's just what I want to say to that. But me personally, I didn't want to do that. And now diving into my experience with the copper IUD. I had thought about this for several months. I spoke with friends who had this specific form of birth control, got a lot of different opinions on it, had discussions with Planned Parenthood specialists, and did a lot of research myself as well. And in fact, I even talked to my partner a lot about it, which is another thing that I would highly recommend. You include your partner in these decisions because likely you're making these decisions with both of you in mind. And so I would just encourage that kind of meaningful and intentional discussion. And if you are with a partner who doesn't want to talk about that stuff, chances are they're probably not that great of a person and might not even be worth your time. So my experience with the copper IUD, the first day that I got it was absolutely horrific. I'm not going to say it was easy or it wasn't painful. It was really painful. I also want to mention that I have had sexually traumatic experiences, and so anything that's kind of done down there definitely triggers me. I've been able to see therapists for it and energy healers and even a hypnotherapist regarding my past experiences that were sexually traumatic for me. But I do just want to say that I think part of why getting the copper IUD in that first day was so hard for me was because it triggered a lot of different emotions in me. So there's the emotional part of it, and then there's also the physical part of it. The copper IUD, when they insert it, you're going to experience intense cramps, like cramps that you've never probably experienced before. They were so intense that I had, a heat pillow, I don't know what they're called, over my ovaries, and that definitely helped. I also was guided by breath from the practitioners that were helping me, and so that helped a lot too. I got home and I literally just went straight to bed. I laid in bed the entire day. My partner brought me things. He brought me water, brought me food. He was super attentive to my experience and what I was feeling and what I was going through, so I felt supported in that way. But for the most part, I actually did want to be alone that day. I kind of just wanted to sit with my emotions and my feelings and what I was going through physically, mentally, spiritually, all of that. I really wanted to sit with my experience and kind of deal with it in solitude. They mentioned that my periods would be heavier and that my cramps would be more intense. And I wasn't super worried about that because my cramps were already non-existent. When I went vegan, my cramps pretty much stopped completely. So that kind of wasn't a real big red flag for me. But that is something to note, that if you do get the copper IUD, that is something that they will tell you, is that your cramps will be definitely more powerful and your flow will be more powerful. Both of those things that they told me were absolutely true. My flow has been much heavier. I use the menstrual cup, and I used to just have to empty it once a day, and now I empty it twice, even 3 times on my cycle on the heavy days. After getting my copper IUD in, I would say I experienced cramps even when I wasn't menstruating. I would just randomly get them at random times in the day, and it was really uncomfortable. And then after that, during when I was actually menstruating, my cramps were definitely not pleasant, and I thought for a little bit there I might get the copper IUD out. But I'm now, as I mentioned, on my 5th month of having it, and my cramps have significantly decreased. When I do have cramps that are pretty bad, I'll actually take a supplement. This is called Cramp Bark Plus. And this is something that I've taken even before I had my IUD in. It really helps me. It's a holistic way of healing, or a natural way of healing using plants from the environment. The Native Americans, in fact, used to use cramp bark to treat swollen glands and things like that. So it's been used for hundreds of years, and this is just what really works for me. So that's why I wanted to share it with you. And I'll leave a link down below if you would like to check out a supplement like that for your cramps. I wanted to end this video with reiterating that you have to explore the route that is best for you, because no body is the same, and something that may work for someone really well that might be considered more zero waste might not work for you, and that's okay. I take supplements still. That's the one area of my life that I really will not sacrifice, is health. If I have to take a certain supplement for my health to ensure that I stay healthy and vibrant and feeling good, I will do that. My supplement that I showed you, the Cramp Cramp Bark Plus. That is not zero waste, it comes in packaging, but that is something that I do so that I can have the copper IUD because that birth control method works best for me and what I want to do with my lifestyle. On a last note, if you are a super big fan of condoms and that's just like your go-to, you're never gonna not use condoms, beware of the toxins and chemicals that come in conventional forms of condoms. I'll leave a link below where you can read a little bit more about it, but one common ingredient is synthetic fragrance and parabens. Both of these ingredients have been linked to cancer, so you definitely don't want to be putting something up in your sacred place that could be disrupting it and causing illness. There are two brands that I would recommend for condoms if you are to use those. The first is Glide, and they use fair trade rubber. They don't use any gross ingredients on them, and Sustain as well. So those are two that I've personally tried that I would recommend. Thank you guys so much for tuning into this video. I hope that it was informative and that you learned something new. Perhaps it inspired you to take charge of your body and to explore a new route of birth control if that's what's in alignment for you right now. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe to my YouTube channel, turn that little bell on next to the subscribe button that will tell you when I make a video next, and share this. Share this with the world. Share this with a friend who maybe would find it interesting or could really use the information right now. Until next time, bye! Take care of your sacred place. Take care of your sacred